Okay, so for this activity, we're looking at the court cards as people that we, and here I have my student Kegan, and I'm going to pose these questions to him now, and he's going to give me examples of people he knows from each. We're going to start off with the lowest level. We're going to start out with the pages. So the page of swords, that's who we call the craftsman, and embodies someone who's hands-on, resourceful, adaptable, technical, the problem solver, calm under pressure, emotionally reserved. It also has a short-term focus. And say that fits that you may know.
And podcast and has all those qualities, does have.
Okay, so that's why you chose her for that.
Hmm.
Okay, very interesting. Um, now let's look at the page of wands. Page of wands are typically called the architect, and it embodies people who are curious yet analytical, logical and independent, open minded, uh, theoretical explorers. Um, they struggle with practicality a bit and can be socially awkward. Who did you say for that?
Most people probably won't know of a band. Most of those good qualities, but also struggles with
Okay, that makes sense there. So when you say too abstract, what do you mean by too abstract though?
too curious, open
Okay.
minded.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on now to the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles card can also be labeled the composer. This is someone who's artistic, free spirited, empathetic, individualistic, emotionally attuned, aesthetically has aesthetic appreciation. Sorry, um, struggles with assertiveness and kind of avoids conflict. And who would you say that would be?
That made me, because she does struggle with conflict. That also leads struggles with doubts herself.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. All right, now we're going to go on to the Page of Cups, the healer. And this is someone who is idealistic, creative, empathetic, imaginative, who is values driven, who is compassionate, can be overly sensitive, and seeks authenticity. And
Perfectly at that,
okay, so again, tell me why.
because very in tune with what I see.
Okay, and she's a bit of an activist too, right? And we typically find these with the Cups cards. We're going to see more people who are more putting themselves out there, right? And really, really try to change things. That's what we see in Cups. Okay, we're going to go ahead and continue. And now we're going to go ahead and look at the Knight. So we're going to begin with the Knight of Swords, who is the entrepreneur, right? The person who is really, really good at starting like a new business, ideas, and knows how to put them into action. This person's typically energetic, is a bit of a risk taker, um, is adaptable and resourceful, really good at crisis management and action oriented. They do seek immediate gratification, which can cause kind of an issue. And they kind of disregard consequences, right? When they face defeat, they kind of just pick up and keep moving on. Who did you say was that?
But the person is very adaptable. Obviously,
Okay. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. The next one we're going to go to is the Knight of Wands. We've also labeled that one the Visionary. And this is someone who's quick witted, innovative, uh, also debater, very strategic, um, an idea explorer, um, can be argumentative, okay, does have some commitment issues and can be quite sarcastic. And who did you say is that and why?
Is in as the regular, but I also
Okay, very interesting. All right, the next card that we have is the Knight of Pentacles. And I've labeled this one the performer or the entertainer. And this is someone who's uh, quite lively, of course, entertainer, spontaneous, outgoing, someone who's willing to put themselves out there, uh, seeks connection with others, is very people oriented, is very short term focused though, however, and also avoids conflicts in a sense. And who did you say that was?
that made me obviously all the but because she's obviously
Okay, makes perfect sense. The last of our knights is the Knight of Cups. We typically call the Knight of Cups the champion. Of course, think of a knight that wins a trophy. He holds the cup, right? And this is someone who's typically enthusiastic, imaginative, growth driven, creative, inspiring, motivational, uh, but can avoid routines, right? Likes to be kind of sporadic, um, and can be overly idealistic. And who did you say that was?
actually male students, although they're very feel like they back in over
Okay. So um, you're thinking of, and I kind of put it this way, like the college advocate kind of person, right?
yeah
That enters the university looking to change the world
yes
in a very idealistic manner, but doesn't really has a grasp on exactly how the world really works. They think they
no
have all the answers. Okay, okay. I can definitely see myself in that too when I was that young as well. I understand. Okay, let's go on to the queens. We're gonna start out with the Queen of Swords, the Inspector. Um, and it says responsible, practical, organized, duty bound, reliable, detail oriented, can struggle with becoming adaptable, right? Likes to be stuck in their ways, and can be overly critical. And you said,
well, ironically it made me think grandfather practical definitely do pay attention highly to they definitely
yeah. And I just want to, as you said, it does say queen, but remember that this is more about the energy and
yeah
less about the
mm-hmm.
actual gender of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
So a queen can refer
Yeah
to a male, just like a king can refer to a female.
mm-hmm.
So they're not bound by those things. Just the energy in the sense here, um, and I guess with it's gonna be more of a receptive energy, okay, as opposed to assertive. And while you did describe things that typically are more assertive, you would think of when a person's more adaptable, they're more assertive. When they struggle with adaptability, you're talking about someone who's being more receptive in that, and they're not actually making an effort, right? They're complaining about it, but not doing making an effort. So that's what the queen aspect. All right, so let's look at the Queen of Wands, the mastermind. And this is someone who's innovative, visionary, rational, um, critical, strategic, analytical, goal oriented, but that have issues with efficiency. Okay. So,
Issues?
oh, I apologize. The efficiency seekers, they try to make things more efficient. Apologies. So, who would this mastermind be to you?
But right away, I thought obvious
Okay.
he works for efficient.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. All right. And again, these are all about what speaks to you. And it's the reason we do this is because now when you see the Queen of Wands card, you're immediately going to think, what are the qualities of each? And you're going to make those
Right.
connections.
Yeah, this really isn't
Yeah.
anything very generalized
Hmm.
and
Yeah, that's perfect. No, it's perfect. All right. Queen of Pentacles. We have as the protector. And this is someone who's caring, supportive, a good listener, reliable, compassionate, self sacrificing. Um, they have some boundary issues though, but they do seek harmony. And you said was
this contrast grandmother. Although they might be very supportive, passionate, does lead to boundaries. Really want all of that going or boundary goal with this, so it does effective.
I like that you did label this grandma and you did the Queen of Swords as grandpas and
Mhm.
saw the dynamic, the duality there, and the contrast. But I think that's very, very, very important and really, really good. That's actually, I think, spot on. And that. Okay, let's go ahead and look at cups. And this is typically who we call the count. Um, these are people who are insightful, empathetic, creative, idealistic, passionate, can be perfectionist, can burn out because they get overwhelmed, and can be very emotionally complex. And who would you say
Mhm.
goes with that one?
So didn't want felt like this country specifically, although they're very creative, a lot of times they they more creative because of how much their emotions are.
Okay, okay. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the knights. Okay, I'm sorry, the kings. My fault. The kings. And we're going to start out with the King of Swords. And the King of Swords, we have here labeled as the supervisor. And as the supervisor, they're organized, responsible, structured, dependable. They're planning, their leadership, efficiency driven, and struggle with flexibility. So, in a sense, similar to the Queen of Swords, but seems to be more assertive, right? I have a little bit more of a power over them. Stay here.
Again, I could very organized, structured and planning leaders do have stake, and often one thing tips the scales.
I see what. Okay, so you've seen him as more of a conservative side, right? With it being very, very cautious. Okay. Okay, interesting. All right, now let's look at the King of Wands, the commander. Okay. We have someone who's strategic, decisive, in leadership role, organized, very confident, uh, looks for efficiency, is very assertive, and can be innovative.
Right away,
Oh, I apologize. Insensitive. Yes.
right away, the perfect person in person can't help but. I believe that that describes the prime because although he's very strategic, quick to make, he is a strong leader, very confident, very cares, does try to be obviously very assertive. However,
Okay, I definitely can. I can see the insensitivity will go hand in hand with the efficiency. Uh, Basically, that personality traits is basically, I don't care how we get it done, we're gonna get it done. Okay. All right, King of Pentacles, and this is the provider, and this is someone who is nurturing, who is does it say sensible?
sociable,
Sociable. I apologize. Uh, humorous, uh,
harmonious.
harmonious. I'm sorry, it's very small
Yeah.
print. Harmonious, caring, supportive, selfishness, uh, trouble with assertion, and they're community builders.
Couldn't go specific, but made me think of the of your. Although they're very nurturing, fine, because careful that may lead all to first community.
They also tend to be pacifists in general, right? Okay, and let's look now at the King of Cups. And this is typically the teacher. And go ahead and read off those characteristics for me.
As leadership, um, honestly,
Okay.
it also, if we're modern day, something might be somebody who kind of self-sacrifices, does or says things for like interpersonal, inspirational, very careful.
So I'm basically a social reformer in a sense too, right? Okay.
With
Makes
definitely with
makes perfect sense. All right, thank you very much. And So now you've seen two different perspectives. As I went through this activity and showed you my examples, now you've seen his examples, and some are radically different from each other, and that is perfectly fine. All of us see the core cards in a different way, and again, we have to make these cards personal to us in order for us to understand exactly their meaning. So by putting, looking at the traits and assigning people to them, we start to learn the cards as people that influence red. I hope this made sense to you.